So the sanctity of a human life of a 90-year-old is pretty much no one cares, right? It's not a there's no Christian initiative to try to make those people live to 150 or whatever, because they don't feel that they're going to get any tithe out of them. But boy, a fertilized embryo, you want to bring that to fruition, and you want to claim credit for that embryo coming, because that individual is going to be a child of God and a believer and a tither, give their life to God, and so they're a pretty valuable commodity. So I view this as kind of a very calculated way of extracting value out of other human beings for the benefit of Christianity and the church.
Yeah. Overall, the Catholic Church in Poland seems not to care at all what happens to children, to actual infants or newborns. Once they are actually born, they only care as long as they are in the womb. And what happens to the woman also doesn't matter, because there's actually a case of a woman called Alicja Tysiąc. Tysiąc. Maybe you have heard that name. I don't know if that's how you would pronounce it. Probably something like that. And she has actually sued the state of Poland because she couldn't get an abortion, and the doctor that was managing her pregnancy has told her that she would probably go blind as a result of complications of her immunological system. And she had the baby, but she did go blind, and she did sue the state of Poland at the European Tribunal, and of course the church went, pardon my French, batshit crazy about that.
Sure, and, sure. I view a lot of this as meddling in decisions that are between the doctor and the patient. The Catholic Church doesn't know a damn thing about those things, and they shouldn't be involved. And if they are involved, they should take responsibility for the thing there. I mean, childbirth is a very risky thing. We've gotten used to modern medicine, pulling people through, but it's a very dangerous thing, and there can be complications, and there can be a lot of difficulties. And this simplistic view of, the child matters more than anything else is very kind of harmful. And people need to make their own decisions on these things,
Yes, and the view that there is some sanctity of life over everything else, including over, for example, human suffering, is also just unbelievably evil. Like, for example, you could cause any suffering to a human being by prolonging, for example, death, just because life is so sacred that you cannot perform euthanasia. But that's kind of off the topic, and I'll try to wrap this up.
Okay.
By also mentioning from the medical viewpoint that also it happens from time to time. Actually, a lot of times it happens that the woman's body aborts the pregnancy before the egg even.
It's more common than people realize, right? Sometimes the embryo doesn't implant, and sometimes there's very early miscarriages. Yes, it's a very common thing. Go ahead.
I just like to wrap this call up, because I'm sure the phone bill is already going to be insane.
Okay.
So anyway, congratulations on the show. I hope that no more crazy fundamentalists will try to blow up your abortion clinics.
Right.
Thanks,
and,
Peter.
Keep it rational.
Okay.
Dark
Thank you.
humor. I love it.
Take
Thank
care.
you for calling, Peter.
That's a good closing. Keep it rational. I like it.
All right. So we have next Tim in Kansas City. Hello, Tim.
Oh, hey guys. Thanks for taking my call. I just had 2 questions, if that would be all right. They're pretty short.
Sure.
The first one is, you always hear people saying that evolution is just a theory. It's only a theory, not knowing what the actual theory means in a scientific sense.
Yeah, it's an equivocation over that word.
Yeah,
right?
your creationists say it with the word just.
Yeah.
It's sort of like saying Earth is just a planet.
Gravity is just a theory,
along with the theory of relativity. But
right.
But my question is, I'm not all the way up to date on my scientific terms, so my question is, if evolution is a fact, which I believe it is, why isn't it called a law?
There are actually, I always hesitate to try to delve into scientific terminology because I usually seem to get it wrong. But my understanding is that a law, first of all, it's not any more definite than a theory. I mean, as you know, a theory is a framework of explanation for describing why it is that certain facts hold together. And it has to take all observations into account. A law is actually a very specific term that requires a precise description of behavior. For instance,
it's descriptive, though.
Right,
That's the important thing. Is you may not have an explanation for it, but you're describing something you see, like the the speed of light being a universal thing. That's kind of a law, or gravity being a law in the sense of
right.
Everywhere we've seen this, it's behaved this way. And I think what Russell's getting to is generally with laws there's a quantification. It's like a mathematical function that usually
like
comes
for
with
instance, the law of gravity isn't just a general description of gravity, because there is something called the theory of gravity also, and that's distinct from the law. And the law of gravity, specifically says, and I'm going to butcher this, I'm sorry, I haven't had a physics class in years, but it's like force equals the product of the two masses divided by the square of the distance.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, basically.
And that isn't, and just because they call that a law doesn't mean that that's definite and can never be changed. It just means these are the observations that things that we can observe and experiment on conform to this equation, and we can use this equation to predict the way that they'll work within a reasonable measure of accuracy.
So to answer your question with regard to evolution, it's not really easily put into an equation, and that's the only reason.
Right, because there's a lot that goes into the theory of evolution. There are a number of different parts. I mean, there are genetic laws about the way that you can predict how two different genotypes will come together and probabilistically produce an offspring.
Right. There is quantification. When you open the box and look inside, there are areas where there are laws and there are quantifications going on.
Right. But
it's
what
just
I'm saying
they're not that popular in culture.
Evolution isn't just one giant scientific concept that, you say it in a sentence and everything is gone. Evolution is a framework or a theory which encompasses a whole lot of different disciplines, from genetic study to archaeology and the fossil record. A whole
Taxonomy,
lot of different disciplines come together under the umbrella of evolution, and evolution won't ever graduate from a theory to a law, because when it meets some standards, because a law is just a different kind of thing than a theory.
It's more like a framework, scientific framework for thinking about all these different disciplines and how the observations they see there.
Right. I want to recommend...
It's kind of a bit of a different beast in that it's not so easily quantified.
Yeah. I want to recommend a website, but I don't have it right on me. So why don't you keep watching for a few minutes?
Are there some keywords that you can Google about?
I hope so, but I don't want to waste too much time.
Okay, maybe we should switch to another caller. Unless you had something else?
That's fine.
Did you have anything else?
Oh, no, that pretty much is it. Thank you guys for summing all that up.
Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, but actually, if I were you, this is the best page to look at talkorigins.org. In the facts section, it is an article titled "Evolution is a Fact and a Theory." I think you should go over that page, because it's kind of long and very detailed, and I think addresses the question better than either of us are qualified to do.
Yeah, and that's a very good website, talkorigins.org. It's a gathering of a lot of information having to do with origins questions, which are very important questions. But one of the things I really like on that website is there's a sort of a taxonomy of apologetics or of intelligent design claims and answers to those. And so pretty much anything you ever hear about intelligent design or creationism is answered there, and it's exhaustively listed out, and it's just really wonderful resource. So.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you guys very much.
Thank you, Tim.
All right, thanks for calling. Next, we have Jonathan in Columbia, South Carolina. Is that right?
Hi, how are you guys doing this evening?
Good. How are you?
Very well, thanks.
I'm fine, thank you. I want to comment on the previous two callers, if I can.
Okay.
First, I was talking about abortions, and I think the exact numbers are that half of all pregnancies actually abort spontaneously.
Mm-hmm.
And
I don't think it's that high, but it is pretty high. Yeah, it's a pretty high number.
A fifth of the ones that make it end in miscarriage without the woman even knowing she was pregnant, and that doesn't include the ones that she might know she miscarried, and the ones that died shortly after birth.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other guy who just calls fact and theory. The way I always explain it is a fact is something that you can merely observe. So you observe a pencil falling.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact of gravity.
Right.
But the theory is the model that explains why that happened.
Right. The actual question had to do with the difference between a law and a theory.
Oh, law. Okay.
Yeah. So it's a little different question, but that's okay. I mean, what you said is true. Yeah. The theories are models. They're frameworks for thinking about things, and over time they become more solid because they have more evidence that confirms them, and they run more. There's a potential to falsify them, and they end up not falsified because people have gone out and tried to falsify them. So this is the sort of way that these theories become more solid.
Another good example being the germ theory of disease. That's how and why diseases happen. The fact that diseases happen is an observed fact, but the fact that they are caused specifically by these microorganisms is the theory.
Yeah, yeah.
We're going to have to speed to your point on this because we've only got a couple minutes left, and I want to remind everybody that in 30 minutes, if you're in Austin, feel free to come on down to Threadgills on Riverside.
And have dinner with us.
And have, yes,
we have quite a number of folks here in the audience, and we get a pretty big crowd, and a lot of folks like to chat about atheism.
So come on down, and we've got a little over a minute left, so is there anything else?
I'll just call next week. How about that?
That sounds great.
All right. Have a good evening.
Okay, thank you for calling.
Dare I take Chuck in Austin and give him
one
about 30 seconds? I'm sorry, Chuck, for rushing you. If you stay on the line, we'll talk to you after the show.
You're talking about Christian buzzwords. One of the ones I always hear is God works in mysterious ways.
Oh, that's a good one.
And my answer to that is, well, that explains why he would allow a little child to be kidnapped, raped, and murdered, but he would save some drug addict who's getting ready to jump off a bridge.
Right.
That's pretty mysterious.
Yeah.
In fact, if I'm ever convicted for a major crime, I'm thinking about just telling the jury that I'm mysterious. And that's my excuse. I don't know if they would buy that or not.
And you're godlike as a result, yes.
Right.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I'll just say God made me do it.
right.
That's another good one. The devil made me do it.
Yeah, that usually works. Yeah. So thanks for calling. Do you want to stay on the line for after the show? Well, I'll put you on hold and we'll see. But anyway, that's our show. There was our crew, and thanks everybody. Thanks Don. It's been a
pleasure
as usual.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun today.
Bye. See you at the Red Gills.
Hey guys, you need to put our website on that slide.
Yeah.